Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Skip Pope Stadium here at Sequoyah High School in scenic Canton, Georgia. A little bit different tonight. We've got a pregame guest with us. We're going to do a little bit of a Sequoyah Chiefs spotlight as we recognize some former players of the program. One of those aforementioned former players is standing here with me in the booth tonight, Eric Robinson. You might remember Eric Robinson as from some of his greatest hits as the 2006 Sequoyah Chiefs, only allowing 108 points, and I think Eric, 50 of those were to one team.
I don't want to get too much into that thing, but yeah, we started off the season well, starting 8-0, and then we kind of fell off at the end. But first of all, thank you, Chase, for having me. I want to send out a condolence to the Reedy family that's a big loss in our community, and former teammate on that same team.
Yeah, a classmate of ours as well.
Led that team in tackles, I believe, and went on to VMI, and he was a great teammate, great friend of mine. And so I just want to send out my condolences to them, and it's a big loss for this community as well as a great loss for everyone he touched. So
absolutely. So our condolences to the Reedy family. He was a fun football player to watch, Eric, and a fantastic person as well. So tell us a little bit about your experience here at Sequoyah High School. Obviously, you and I were part of a different regime, different coaching regime here, but they still run the same offense.
Same thing, yeah.
And it's still pretty similar. So go ahead and just tell us about your time here at Sequoyah and what prepared you to go play Division I football after you left out of here.
So it's funny when you say that we still run the same system. Basically, when you hit 7th grade on, you're running the wing tee. You're not even touching a football. You're going through your steps and everything. And Coach Maxwell, who we had, great coach, one of the best influences I've had in my life. We had great coaches on that staff, Coach Face. Just so many guys on that staff that helped develop us and mold us from the very beginning. 7th grade on, they were on us. We were very well disciplined, and a lot of times we shouldn't even be playing with the teams that we played with, but we were so disciplined and we knew what we had to do each week and well prepared that we would beat teams that we shouldn't have. And so we made this big statement. We made some playoff runs, and it was just a lot of fun to be here. I'm bringing my kids to watch the games now, and it's just like it's an honor to watch Sequoyah back, basically.
And you're bringing your kids up through the Cherokee County Youth Program.
Yes.
A little bit different umbrella program at the Cherokee Warriors,
sure.
But one of the great things about Cherokee County, and I think you can probably attest to this because you've come back basically, is that one of the things that people always say about Cherokee County is how great the community is.
Right.
Talking to people in the football programs, talking to first responders, they always sing the praises of Cherokee County. So what is it about this place and about this county that keeps you coming back?
Everyone is so kind, if that makes sense. Like everyone supports each other. When we played, there's only 4 county schools. Now there's 6. I mean, Cherokee County football has become this big juggernaut and competitive in the state. Like we have River Ridge last year coming out of nowhere, making almost a long run in the state playoffs, and then it was nice to see the Sequoyah Cherokee rivalry come back. But yeah, what it is about Cherokee County, I mean, it's just there's a different feeling here than when you go to other counties. It's just every school in here can beat you any other week. And it's just to come out of the Cherokee County as like winning the county, I guess you want to say, is saying something about your team because Cherokee County is building something special, and it's fun to watch coming back. So.
Yeah, it's an absolute blast to see some of these teams sometimes. You mentioned River Ridge and Creekview coming into the fold. Creekview wasn't even a school when we graduated. I mean, it was a school, but they didn't have varsity. They weren't playing varsity football.
No, they didn't get to play when I was there. My cousin actually played there. But, yeah, they were good from the very beginning. But what's funny about them is they were based from Sequoyah people. Yep. Coach Morrell built that up. And now Trevor Williams also played at Sequoyah, is now the head coach over there. So they have a little Sequoyah blood running through there. So I guess if you want to poke fun at that rivalry, I mean, they're built on Sequoyah. So.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it definitely felt like that because, it was almost like 75% of the, good, not to say good football players, but a lot of really good football players ended up at that Cherokee County program, or
my cousin
program. Yeah. And it really laid a solid foundation for them to become probably the premier team in Cherokee County, definitely this year. I mean, they took down Cherokee, and if they can take down River Ridge, and Sequoiah's got a showdown with them coming up in a few weeks.
That's going to be a fun one.
It'll be a good watch, and that Sequoyah Creekview game will be brought to you courtesy of WLJA Radio. We will not be broadcasting live from that one. You'll hear that one with Will Cooper and Art Mosley on WLJA. But, Eric, one more thing. A big region game here for the Chiefs tonight.
Yeah.
Johns Creek and Sequoyah. This ended up being the game last year. due to the playoff math that kept Sequoyah out of it.
Right.
If they'd have probably just kicked one more field goal or got a few more points,
Yeah.
they could have gotten that 4 seed.
Yeah, with Sequoyah, I coached at Woodstock High School last year with Coach Buddy. Coach Buddy came over here as the defensive coordinator, and I feel like he's been a great addition to their staff. But even when we were playing each other last year, I knew Sequoyah had something going. They had a rough start, starting off, I think, 0-4 or something like that. But you knew they were going to be a solid team, solid foundation, and they're showing it right now.
Yeah, they ended up dropping their first 5 games, but
Yeah.
it was almost like they flipped a switch in the second half of the year where they rattled off 4 of their last 5 games they won.
Right.
And obviously falling to River Ridge because almost everybody lost to River Ridge last year.
Yeah.
And River Ridge got to go, like we said earlier, got to go play in the state quarterfinals where they played Lee County, and Lee County is a powerhouse school, and Lee County did what Lee County does, and
Right.
and kind of took care of that. But moving on up in the football world, like it's so great to see Cherokee County doing so well, and it's interesting to see these new region alignments. Sequoyah, particularly when you and I were in the program, Cambridge, Creekview, like all these schools that are in the region now that we'd probably never even heard of, and that weren't even schools, and it just goes to show how big this area is getting.
Yes, for sure. And the respect level for Cherokee County is huge now. I mean, before you would mention you played at Sequoyah or whatever, and someone from the other side of state wouldn't even know where that was. Now they're like, oh yeah, you guys have the Michigan helmets or stuff like that. So it's awesome to see it grow, and it's awesome to see the county take off as a whole. And yeah, it's a great time to be part of Cherokee County football.
I think one of the hardest things when I first moved down here during high school, getting into this program, was putting on a helmet that looked like a Michigan team.
Yeah.
Being an Ohio native, that was. You'd stand there looking at the helmet going, I don't know about this. But if you wanted to even practice, you had to wear the helmet.
For
but
sure. At least it's black and gold, not blue and gold.
Well, it's guilty by association in my book. But,
right.
We had some really, really good times, particularly in that program. They renamed the field house after Coach Ray Face.
Right.
Everybody who was who kind of went to school with us and before us, we look back on Coach Face fondly, and everybody's got a good Coach Face story.
Yeah.
Maybe take a shot and share some of those good ones with us.
I mean, okay, Coach Face is always good to me. Never had any. I got yelled at a couple times from him, but
who didn't?
Yeah, I remember it was Halloween. I was dressed up as a banana. I was walking through the hall, and I was always a quiet kid in high school, so you wouldn't expect that from me. But I was walking down the hall to the locker room, and he walks by me, stops, looks at me, gives me like the death stare, shakes his head, and then just keeps walking. And at that moment, I was like, oh my gosh, this did not happen. So yeah, that was the last time I ever dressed up for Halloween at school again. But yeah, I love that man. He's a great coach, great influence. I'm glad they're giving him his recognition.
Absolutely.
And he was one of the best coaches I've ever had, for sure.
Yeah. And the influence of just this wing T program. I mean, you've got Coach Maxwell. He's over at Dawson County now. Coach Parker. Coach Parker has his own, basically his own podcast and own show, and he's running his own resource. His own resource. What is it? It's Parker resource, like a coaching resource.
Yeah, it's to help all the coaches that are trying to build a winning program.
Yeah.
A winning culture, which he has done that. He went to Pickens. He went to Chapel Hill.
Yep.
We played Chapel Hill when he was coaching here, and we knew that if they had great coaching, they'd be something. And he went over there, took them to the playoffs. That says a lot about him. He's always been a very organized guy. So yeah, I always loved Coach Parker. He would stay hard on me, but I appreciate it because it made me a better player, and he was a great coach here. So you always knew he'd take off and be a good head coach somewhere.
Yeah, you never really appreciate that tough love when it's happened to you in the moment. When you look back on it as an adult, you're like, man, those guys were really just trying to set me straight and set me up for success in the future. And in your case, they did, because you ended up going and playing for Western Carolina.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that.
I went to Western Carolina. I was originally signed to VMI, decommitted last second. Wish I didn't. But, yeah, Western Carolina, great experience. I played there 2008, 2012. Unfortunately, concussions ended it for me. But I don't regret any of that. It was a great learning experience for me. It helped me grow as a person. I did meet my significant other, I guess you want to say, there. And I was able to have my 3 boys. So it brought a lot. It's been a big blessing in my life. It's an experience I wouldn't trade for anything. But, yeah, Western Carolina, we were always kind of had it rough. We were never a winning school, if you want to say that. But, it was a great experience. And now I see Western Carolina recruiting through here all the time.
Yep.
And it's great to see people, as a former Catamount myself, then come through here and give Cherokee County a look. And that goes to Cherokee County growing like it's supposed to. So, but, yeah.
Well, awesome. It's glad to see you back here in Cherokee County. Eric, thank you so much for joining us. We wish you the best, and I can't wait to see what your boys can do on the football field.
Sure.
If they're anything like their dad, they're going to be a killer football player. So thank you.
They're better than their dad, for sure.
So thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you around the game.
For sure. Thank you for having me.
Yep. So, folks, that's Eric Robinson, our interview of our Chief Spotlight, our Sequoyah Spotlight former player who came up through the program. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break at this time because we're fixing to get underway here in about 28 minutes. So we'll be back after this short break as we bring you the Region 7 6A opener between the Sequoyah Chiefs and the Johns Creek Gladiators. I am Chase Schaefer. We'll see you after the break.